Hi everyone, so this is a Renee Rants video. I have to be really quick. It's on Glee. Okay, so I've been watching Glee since day one, and I've taken issue with things since day one, but I am at my core a Gleek. I'm just a very unhappy, very dissatisfied, very frustrated Gleek, and I have been for quite some time now. I mean, obviously from day one there were things that you could criticise in abundance about the show. The cheesy McCheese, cheddar McCheese, parmesan-y cheesiness of it, the stereotypes that are perpetuated all the time, the negative social and sexual and political and whatever messages that seem to come in and get supported by the really piss-poor dialogue a lot of the time. There's tons of stuff you could criticise about the show on any given day, but it's really, over the last, I don't know how long it's been, at least a year, it feels like it's been pummeling itself into the ground, and for whatever reason it's just coming to a head with me and my patience quota, if we're going to be like Bella from Twilight. My patience quota I think has been like reached and breached now, and every week I tell myself I have to give up, I have to stop watching the show because it isn't worth all the emotional turmoil I go through after watching an episode, when I'm so miserable and so angry, really angry, and it spoils my day, and I think, why am I putting myself through this? I'm looking over at my DVDs here of Glee. Why am I putting myself through this for you? What do you deserve? You do not deserve my loyalty. No, you don't. And I don't know why I'm persisting with it. I think that at the end of the day, I want to see a show, a mainstream TV show that has such a large, wide viewership. I want to see it because it's about geeks. Well, it's meant to be. It's about people who are supposedly social outcasts and on the fringe and a little bit weird and quirky, and they sing and dance out their feelings, and this pertains to my life and the lifestyle I've chosen and the kind of things I'm interested in, the friends I have, and that is all relevant and means something to me, and I think I just keep hanging on to the really flimsy, really fragile hope that it will get better and it will rectify all of its many, many problems, and suddenly things will be okay and I'll just be able to sit down and do what I want to do and enjoy the frickin' show, which I have not been able to do for so long because there's so many things wrong with it. And I'm sure the writers are probably just sitting back like, well, you know, if you're a fan, you just enjoy the show anyway, and like, don't take it so seriously, and just watch it because it's like light entertainment, and like, why are you getting so riled up? Okay, righto. We all know, well, if you're a fan, if you're a Gleek, it's a running joke pretty much amongst the entire fandom that the show is the most inconsistent show in the history of shows on television. Everyone knows that Glee writers seemingly can't recall what they've written the day before, the week before, the month before, the year before. You know that any information relayed in an episode will probably be contradicted at some point in the future. And that can be in terms of character and personality traits, or their individual storylines, or a wider story arc, or just a setting, anything, any kind of information is going to get contradicted at some point, or just entirely forgotten and abandoned. And we all know this, and it's such a sad fact. It is the saddest thing when the Glee writers will occasionally remember something and reference it in an episode, and the entire fandom is so excited and happy, and you see them rejoicing and applauding the writers like, oh, you remembered something. That should not be the case. These people are getting paid probably very good amounts of money to do what they're doing. They're meant to be professionals, and we just shrug it off now. We have to. When they forget everything they've ever jotted down. I realise it now has an even larger writing staff. Maybe there's lack of communication and they don't file away everything they've done. But I've never known a show to forget its own information as often as Glee does. And it's freaking frustrating. Especially, it's not just in a wider context within the show, but each character suffers from this as well, and you never blame the actors themselves. They can't help what they're being told to say, but characters suffer. I mean, Quinn is probably honestly one of the characters that I think has been dealt the hardest blows in terms of her storylines and her trajectory as a character makes no sense at all. And I think that's because they never remember what they want her to do and where she's going. And anyway, inconsistencies, thy name is Glee. That's honestly probably my major issue. Also, I feel like there's an utter lack of respect for the fans. And this could just be how I'm perceiving it, and the fact that I take it so personally, I think, when things don't go the way I want them to. It isn't a show that should be built on fan service. I don't think any show should be. You, as a creative team, you have your idea. You have the core of what you want to do. It is in your hands, so you have a say. You have the say in where it's going. But, by the same token, it is a show that has been given so much from the fandom. There are entire storylines and relationships that would not have been in existence. For example, Britannia, which is the pairing between Brittany and Santana, would not have existed if it hadn't been for fans perceiving things and, then making demands and stuff. So I think you need to acknowledge that and stop assuming that they're just going to either shrug it off or forget about it or not notice. That's the other thing. I feel like our intelligence and our level of perception as fans is really downplayed and insulted a lot of the time. It could just be because I take it so personally, but I don't know, that writing team, if I ever saw them, I would want to slushy every single one of them, several times over. And if I saw Ryan Murphy, I would knee him in the balls a lot, until he was screaming, and I'd do it gladly, because that leads to other things that I take issue with, which are the messages that the show carries, or tries to carry, and then doesn't. It fails miserably. Anytime they do an episode where it's meant to be like girl power, oh, it burns so bad. It honestly feels like they're just going, take that, all of womanhood. I can't stand it. I mean, the most recent example would have been the I Kissed a Girl episode, wherein there were no girls kissing, so I don't know why they bothered with that stupid title. That was sickening. It really was. I don't know why a lot of the time they bother to try and handle certain social concepts or messages if they're not going to tackle them legitimately, and if they're only going to think, well, we'll just say we're doing this, we'll put in a few really cheesy, really obvious lines of dialogue to kind of say, this is what our message is, and we'll hope that the fans can just nod and accept what we're doing. And that's just not the case. They can't keep thinking they can get away with that. I don't know if they think we're brain dead while we're watching this show, or what it is. I'm probably talking too much, so I'm going to have to do a second part of this video. I'm not making any sense either, so I'll come back at ya with a part 2 of all the things I want to say about Glee. I just keep death glaring my DVDs. Okay, bye.